Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is OU Football Update, brought to you by Bronze.
Hey everybody, Toby back with you. It is an Oklahoma's own pod, midweek edition of the OU Update. Toby and Chris Williams with you today. Contractually, I have to have a Chris with me for every podcast. We had Plank on Monday, see Willie today. How we doing, Chris?
I get a little jealous when I see you with Plank. Having fun together, I'm like,
My
hey,
other life. Yeah.
Hey, Plank needs to know, he's temporary.
Good. Do you remember that Seinfeld episode where George didn't want his worlds to collide?
Yeah,
Kind of the way. It's the kind of way I feel. I have my radio life and my TV life, and you two can't mix. Okay, so we're talking press conference today. Brent Venables and Ben Arbuckle had their Tuesday weekly press conference. This is the first one of these we have done coming off a loss, Chris. Mm-hmm. So you were there in Norman today. In general, what was the tone?
Yeah, focused. Serious. Not down at all. I didn't get that sense. But I kind of forgot how much Venables, he loves football and he loves getting into the weeds of it. And after losses, that's when you get those answers where he starts talking about, there was a 3rd and 2 where our defensive tackle should have gone in. And he gets really, he gets into it, which is kind of fun. But, man, you can tell that those film sessions after a loss, those are long ones. I got the feeling that they're disappointed with the effort overall in the game, and we've known that. But I get the feeling that they're able to point at things to say, we're not as far off as it may have felt. It's just some of these things that are fixable. We didn't do this the right way, need to focus on this. And I got the feeling that they feel like this is something that they can get back on track, get back on the rails.
Yeah, it feels like it's an offensive problem to me. And I know Chris Brent likes to take the blame or likes to focus on the defense a lot of times. Mm-hmm. But Ben Arbuckle, I know, was there as well. What did he say about how the offense performed on Saturday?
They need to be better. And a big topic of conversation is John Mateer. And we've seen how good he can be. We saw how poorly he played on Saturday. But a big thing that Arbuckle kept coming back to is with John Mateer, it's back to basics. Focus on the fundamentals. Focus on the little things like he was saying. Footwork, if you focus on your footwork and you focus on this, you can do the next step. So maybe they felt like Mateer got a little bit too caught up in some of the surrounding, will he, won't he play? The difference if he does, it's OU, Texas, almost getting into hero ball a little bit. And hey, just get back to what you're doing. And they talk about eye discipline. Mateer's been talking about it. Arbuckle talking about it. Just getting back to that, to who John Mateer is and can be. And there were moments in the game, Toby, there were some plays where they ran a slant on like a 2nd and short or something, and he got the ball out quickly and he put it in the perfect spot against tight coverage. And those plays, you look at it and go, yes, that's the difference between John Mateer and a replacement. That's how good he can be. But then there were all the holding on to the ball too long and the poor eye discipline and the indecisiveness where you go, who is this? Yeah. That's not John Mateer. Being indecisive, that's not him. So I think that's what they recognize. They're just trying to get him back to, hey, don't try to do too much.
This is not offering up an excuse because I said this before the game. I was worried about guys who play in this game for the first time. Mm-hmm. And it is very easy to be discombobulated. OU Texas is a lot. The week leading up to it is a lot. The day, the bus ride, the tunnel, the crowd, everything that goes into it is a lot. And it always takes a quarter and a half. Some guys never calm down when they get out in the middle of it. And it looked to me like, so Mateer was dealing with a thumb. But he also was dealing with an environment he's never been in his life. There was nothing like this at Washington State. There was nothing like this at Little Elm High School. And he looked out of sorts, man. His footwork, you mentioned it, was weird. Some of the decisions he made were odd. The throws didn't look very good, and I'll chalk a lot of that up, the deeper ones to the thumb. But I think he'll be better this week. South Carolina is going to be a tough environment, but it's a normal road game. There's nothing normal about OU Texas, So we shall see. Defensively, quick quickly, because I know Brent brought this up, the turnover thing. They're now -7 in turnover margin. They've only forced 2. As good as this defense is, I just can't get an explanation as to why. It seems like they should be +10 in turnover margin, but for whatever reason, they can't force turnovers.
Yeah, and I got the feeling, and I think this may happen to the more times, that Steve Sarkisian went into that game with Arch Manning and said, don't feel like you have to do too much. In fact, the amount you think you have to do, knock it down a peg. And you saw that in the conservative play calling throughout the first half. He threw a lot of passes behind the line. He started out like 6 for 7 or something, but it was like for 20 yards because he was throwing the ball behind the line and doing that. And so I get the feeling that Texas and some of these other teams look at that defense and they looked at the way the offense was struggling and said, just don't put it in jeopardy. Just take that, and if we need to punt it and put our defense back on the field, that's what we're going to do, and it makes it hard. But then also, I mean, our Mason Thomas had your picture-perfect, around the edge, chop down on the quarterback's arm. I don't know how Arch held on to that football. I mean, so I just, and Brent kept saying it early in the season, like, those will come. Those will come. Well, now we're hitting the mid part of the season, and you're going, okay, they need to find a way to make that actually happen.
I'm ping-ponging back and forth on sides of the ball. Did Arbuckle or Venables talk much about the run game and how to try to get something going there?
They talked about the run game, but they didn't get too into the weeds of what they do differently. I mean, they have high praise for Blaylock. I mean, they just say that Torrey has done everything right from the minute he stepped on campus until now. And that running back rotation, they were kind of given some insight into on Thursdays. They have the personnel meeting about who the top 2 backs will be. And then game day, you know, with different situations, that's when Arbuckle kind of takes over more than Murray. Said that Barnes maybe, or that Brent Venables said that Barnes maybe tweaked his hamstring in pregame, and that's why he was limited. But yeah, that offensive line needs to be better in the run game, needs to get a push. And they did talk about also the tight ends haven't given them much help. Yeah. And so that they didn't give a full solution to it, but they definitely are recognizing again, yes, we are falling short in that area, and it would be nice to be able to fix that.
Let's talk about what they had to say about South Carolina and Georgia. But first, a word from our sponsors at Brahms.
Brahms Banana Fudge Sundae gives a whole new meaning to decadent taste. 2 creamy scoops of premium vanilla ice cream overflowing with delicious hot fudge and fresh slices of banana to create the perfect balance between the fruity banana flavor and rich hot fudge. Treat yourself to a banana fudge sundae at Brahms, where every spoonful is pure bliss.
Strawberry milkshake. That's my go-to at Brahms. I love the strawberry milkshake. It's all good.
Trick or treat mix right now, heading into Halloween. Excellent.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Okay. Georgia, before we get to South Carolina, Monday night on his radio show, and today, I think he was asked about it today, to be fair. Yeah. But Venables has talked about how much he likes watching Georgia. And I think this is really interesting. He talks about how Georgia loves living in the difficult. I'm paraphrasing, but that's close to what he says. When games get tough, Georgia thrives. When they're on the road at Tennessee and they're down, or things are going against them, they love living in the hard. And he admires that about Kirby Smart's football teams. He didn't say this, but the impression I got was, I want my team to be more like that. Like, it got hard Saturday and we didn't step up to the occasion. We kind of wilted. He didn't say that, but that's kind of what he was saying, I think. So what was your impression of all the Georgia talk?
Yeah, well, and he's talked several times. He always says the SEC is a one-score league, right? And that's why, I mean, you look across the board, all these games, you're going to find yourself in that situation. And like you said, he didn't come right out and say it, but he was like, we were in a spot in the fourth quarter where we could have really pushed that to become a game, and instead it went the other direction. I took it the exact same way. He wants guys, and I don't necessarily think he doesn't have guys that can do that, but he wants them to really enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And he knows with this schedule coming up, that's where they're going to have to.
They did it against Michigan. They did it against Auburn. Those were tough football games to be decided in the fourth, and they stepped up to the occasion. They just didn't do it against Texas.
Yeah, I think a fair question, Toby, without being overly critical, is how is Brent in that situation? Because he's a really good defensive coordinator and he gets really into the game. And sometimes it feels like in those moments he forgets he's the big picture guy. And sometimes, and we saw it more. I mean, even you go back a few seasons ago when they started 7-0, and then the way that Kansas game ended, and they didn't take a chance. There's just been moments, and I think that's been a focus for him, is to be able to take a step back in those moments. And I think he would like his team to. But that's also where you look at a guy like John Mateer. John Mateer feels like he should be built for those moments.
Yeah.
And so when he's having an off day, everyone around him is going to have a hard time falling into those, because those are the times where you go, here we go, baby, it's Mateer time.
All right, South Carolina, Lenore Sellers, preseason first-team quarterback in the SEC, just a sophomore, huge, a 6'4", 6'3", 240 quarterback. Dylan Stewart, Britt Venables called him a freak today, and that's a compliment. If you don't watch football regularly, that's a compliment. This team wreaked havoc on Michael Hawkins in the first 5 minutes of the game last year in Norman, and that was it. Ball game was over. 5 minutes into it. No lie, you remember. From that point on, Oklahoma beat South Carolina. The next 35 minutes last year when they played, Oklahoma outscored them. They were the better team. But the first 5 minutes was too much to overcome, and a lot of it was because of the pass rush of Dylan Stewart and friends. Anyway, what did Brent and Arbuckle have to say about the Gamecocks today?
Well, it's the same kind of story, because it was 2 picks and a scoop and score at the start of that game last year, and South Carolina leads the SEC 11th in the nation in takeaways this year. Meanwhile, I mean, OU is at the very, you have to keep scrolling on the NCAA stat website to find the OU defense. I thought it was interesting. He also called Sellers a freak in the complimentary way. I mean, look at his size. He talked about how he gets low in the pocket and then he'll just pop up. He's almost like Big Ben back there too, Ben Roethlisberger, where he'll get hit all around. And he said it's hard enough getting a guy free to the quarterback, but it takes more than one guy to take down Sellers a lot of the time. But what I thought was interesting is he said Sellers is an excellent athlete and player, and he's becoming a great quarterback. And I think that's a great way of putting it. As he grows up, he's getting more of those traits that come with being a great quarterback. He's always had the tools. He's always been a freak in that way, but now he's developing, and he's only going to get better from that standpoint. He's dangerous. He described the DNs for South Carolina as like R. Mason Thomas, but longer.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to hear.
No. Dylan Stewart's a top 10, top 5, maybe top 1 pick next year when he comes out. He's tremendous. I think you touched on, at least midweek, what I think is the key to this game. Oklahoma got pressure on Arch Manning all day, but they got him to the ground once. They got 1 sack. And repeatedly, he slithered through a crack, or he just didn't go down, extended a play, and made a play. A lot of those third down pickups in the second half was after Oklahoma almost had a sack, but he stayed alive and found somebody. You can only ask corners or defensive backs to cover for so long. You were one. So they're going to get pressure on Lenore Sellers. South Carolina's given up a bunch of sacks. I think it's 20-some. Maybe it's 20. It's at least 20. They've given up a bunch of sacks. OU's going to get pressure on Lenore Sellers. They're really good at it. But they got to get him to the ground, or at least him and make him throw a pass under pressure. If you let him escape, he's a freight train, man, in the open field. Good luck anybody tackling him, and he may make a play with his arm too. But for me, at least right now, midweek, that's the most important thing in this game is don't let Lenore Sellers extend plays.
Yeah, and I also I have to get this off my chest, Toby, because I heard somebody on the radio over the weekend talking about OU. Someone who was on one of the shows said, Texas's defense held the Sooners out of the end zone, so it shouldn't have been that hard for OU to do the same. It's like, okay. defenses, even the best of them, even the 85 Bears got scored on, even the 85 Sooners got scored on here and there. Yes, they were not themselves. They didn't play to their standard. That's still an excellent group, and you cannot expect OU to win the next 6 games 3-0 each game with Tate Sandell being the only score. Offense needs to help. Arbuckle said it needs to be complementary football, and he knows that means his group needs to give the defense a rest and needs to give the defense some form of inspiration and help and give them a lead to play from. I think that's a big key. Yes, the defense is going to lead the way, but to expect them to do everything, I mean, that just rubbed me the wrong way when I heard him say that, whoever it was on the radio.
We're not done. I got one more question, but if you're enjoying this, if you enjoy our 3 times a week OU pods here on Oklahoma's Own Sports, please like and subscribe. It's important to us. Question for you, and we'll get out. If OU scores 20 points in every game the rest of the way, how many of them do they win?
I think 20 probably wins this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss is tough because, man, they can put it up. And I still have memories. Well. Yeah, I still have memories of Nussmeier finding a way to pick apart the defense down in Death Valley last year.
But LSU's offense has not been the same so far.
I know it hasn't, but it's just hard for me from what I saw from Nussmeier to not believe that by then they'll figure it out. Alabama, they look.
It's playing good. Yeah. Here's the point. The point is, a lot of them, maybe all of them, with the defense Oklahoma has, you don't have to go put 50 on the board to win.
Right. Yeah.
You get to 20, and you got a chance with this defense to win every game the rest of the way.
Special teams, and you don't give up anything, no giveaways in your own territory, no special teams, then yeah, I think they're in good shape with a lot of them. You're right. And so that's got to be the message to Mateer is, and maybe it'll help. Hey, not everyone's going to talk about your Heisman odds anymore. Just go play football and do what it takes to win football games and not worry about the rest of it.
I'm not going to talk about that unless you go for 400 on Saturday. Then you're right back in the race.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, great job. I didn't want to scare you during the interview, but there's a horse about to nibble on your ear. So be careful. Be careful. Don't be startled.
Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
You're going to South Carolina with me. You fired up?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
I'm going with
Big
you.
Time. Yeah, dude. I was told, I just called you dude, my boss. I was told last time I was in South Carolina that the state vegetable is mac and cheese.
Ooh.
That's what we're in for.
Nice.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
We will be reporting from South Carolina, from Columbia, Friday night, and then, of course, Saturday on game day. Coming up Friday right here on Oklahoma's Own Pod, Todd Ellis, play-by-play voice of the Gamecocks, will join me, and we'll get a deeper dive into what South Carolina, Shane Beamer's boys have this year. Chris, great job.
Thank you. Better than the other Chris? You don't have to answer that.
I can't answer that. My worlds are colliding. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's Own digital studio stream. Stay with News 9, online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.